All right, so we're mixing compost together put down for planting new grass in our no dig grass planting. We got our cardboard down already. What I'm doing here is I'm mixing different ages of compost so to hold the moisture well and just bigger stuff to break down. This also has been inoculated with biochar, so hopefully it's got enough nitrogen in it from this. If not, we'll find out. We'll just have to add more to the grass. If the grass starts growing and it looks a little light color, a little anemic, we will add some nitrogen to it. I wish you guys could smell this because it smells so good. If you're a farmer, if you're a gardener, this smells so good. It smells so earthy. See how both of these piles of compost are broken down enough that I can actually use a shovel in them. I know I've probably said it before, but just still amazing to me how you take so many different things like trimmings off your plant where you prune them back, and coffee and just cardboard, even lots of cardboard, paper. I shredded so much cardboard and paper for these piles, and then the coffee, and then all the little sticks and twigs that are almost gone. I can't tell you how many sticks and twigs that we'll find in these piles, the ones that have a little bit more circumference to them. You break them apart and there's worms living in them. It's lovely. So the microbes go in and break them down, and then the worms come right behind them, and then they poop out gold. Did you guys know that worms poop gold? Just ask anybody that sells worm castings, they'll tell you. My leaf shredder likes these things. That's one thing, if you're gonna get coffee from a local coffee shop or whatever, more likely than not, they're gonna just throw the filters in too, which is fine with me. But I have found out over time that it's a lot better to shred them up or tear them up. I tear them up too sometimes. They break down a lot faster than they do if they're whole. Of course, they're a little bit, they're not thicker, but whatever, they're a thicker weave. How's that? It keeps them from like breaking down when they're filtering hot coffee. But they do break down just like any other paper does. Break down pretty easy if they're shredded or torn apart into smaller pieces. They sort of tear like super thick tissue paper. Now I'm adding the coffee for one main reason, and that's because the high nitrogen content. Grasses love nitrogen. They love that. That's what makes them green. Spent coffee grounds are very, very close to neutral. So close to neutral. I mean, they're on the acidic side, but they're so close to neutral that you really couldn't tell. And your plants won't tell either. It's not going to change the pH of your soil. And I also have, before we put any more dirt down, gypsum, put on top of that cardboard. You can go pretty thick with that. Today is April the 13th, I believe. Is that right? I'm getting sort of antsy about a lot of things, but early crops are coming in great. I just got to decide now, how long do I want to wait before I plant these tomatoes? Especially my peppers aren't ready, but that's okay. I can wait on those because when they're ready to grow, they'll grow so big. If they did last year, I had 6-foot tall pepper plants last year. They were happy. In fact, they were so tall that we're using a new way to basically trellis them this year to keep them from falling over, and maybe someone can tell me something different to do with my plants, but I have real big, beautiful pepper plants full of peppers, but when they get too full of peppers, it seems like the branches are so brittle sometimes. I mean, you can't, and you try to move them and stake them, and they break. I'm just breaking this up and mixing it. I love playing in the dirt. And also, I shred just about everything. People worry about all the dyes and I don't know what else, lead, I think some, but anything that food comes in is going to be a biodegradable kind of dye, a safe kind of dye for sure. Like I was telling John this morning too, even on my big boxes, I mean, if the tape's hanging off, I'll pull it off, but otherwise it's going to come out after I compost. I find it, I just pull it out. And in the grand scheme of things, that little bit of ratio, unless you're a nut about it, which some people are, about the microplastic, but in the grand scheme of things, the ratio up in the end of all the compost that makes going to be so minute that it's not going to matter, in my mind anyway. This is what the mulch looks like once it goes through this mulcher. I guess I bought this like in December after I'd already started making a lot of compost and just putting leaves in it, and knowing just from researching and listening to people that oak leaves take a long time to break down. And I said, well, I'll just deal with it. And of course, what they said was true. I didn't think it wasn't, but that proved it to me. And so I started looking on ways to mulch leaves, and I discovered, I didn't know that they made this kind of machine just specific purpose of mulching leaves. And when you have as many leaves as we have, John will tell you the pile that you can't see, it's right off to your left, or my left, your right. It was probably 7 feet high. That's probably how high I blew it with my steel backpack blower. And that was only probably 30 or 40% of all the leaves, because some of them got blown into the woods. And then where John got the leaves today was the other pile that we have down there that is sort of my reserve. The leaf pile that you don't see also has some branches and sticks, because it was going to be a burn pile at one time, but we're not going to do that anymore. I'm getting the sticks out to use to burn for biochar, and then the rest with some grass clippings. Eventually, when I get enough leaves out, I'm going to break it all together and let it compost. And I already looked in it today, and I'll show you what it's doing by itself. So if you dig down in it, of course, there's still leaves, but look at that dark, rich compost that it's making already. And so I'm just going to leave a lot of that, because this is mostly just leaves and a little bit of grass. There's some good leaf mold. That's a good sign. That's the fungus. So it's composted not by microbes, but by fungus. There, look at that. There's some paper, but it's just breaking down really nice. Given time. I'm surprised I don't see any worms in that. But anyways, it's getting there. So you see I watered this in really good. I put water before I put the mulch down, and we're using our own mulch. It's worked good on the other one. And what I really love about this is when it breaks down, straw doesn't have a lot of nutrient value, by the way. It's just pretty neutral. Compared to oak leaves that are mulched, they're going to break down faster if they're mulched. They have a ton of things like nitrogen and other things in them that's really good for the soil and the grass. And so then we put the mulch on, and it's pretty thick. Remember, we used about 3 inches of compost soil to plant it in, because you have to remember when you do this, over time it's gonna break down, which is fine, but you want to start with more than you think you need. And I'm not going to be riding over this with a mower or even push mower until it's real long and compacted anyways. So it's not going to matter. The seed we used this time, I got this on sale. That's why I bought it, because it's a little bit more expensive, but it'll work. It's called a grass seed, but it's landscaping mix because that's what I wanted, because it's a mix of sun and shade because it's dappled here. So we'll come back and show you when it starts growing. And I think John's going to show you the other. It's been in the ground 12 days and it's doing really good, really well. And so we'll be back with you for some more interesting things to do. There's plenty more that I'm getting ready to do. So potted plants will start going to the ground pretty soon as I think they're ready. Oh, this Saturday coming up, which I don't know when the video will be up, but this will be really interesting to a lot of people. We're building a 3 feet wide, 12 feet long, and 3 feet deep planter. And it's going to be off the ground planter. So it's anywhere from a foot to 3 foot off the ground, depending on the slope. And this will be, I think, my 4th or 5th one that we've built. I love them. Besides my tomatoes, in the same bed will be basil and marigolds, of course, but probably other things like some garlic, maybe even some other plants. Then after all my tomatoes are planted, we'll go to the peppers. But anyways, that's another story. But I think you'll find it interesting how we build this and maybe give you some ideas. All right, have a good week, have a good day, and we'll be talking with you soon. Have fun in your garden.